places on Earth. I was thinking of very old times, when the Romans first came here. But darkness was already here. Life is just a transition into darkness. Living life and maintaining a good conscience is hard enough. I was just out of Africa, after dealing with that sickly man Kurtz, when I was hired by the British East India Company. They wanted me out east, up the Ganges River to the small town of Chandrapur. I was to serve as an assistant magistrate to Mr. Ronnie Heaslop. I always wanted to travel up the Ganges. It reminded me of an immense snake uncoiled. Little did I know that my dreams of glory would not be as glorious as I thought, while enduring a passage into darkness.
Upon arrival in Chandrapur, I immediately made acquaintances with my new boss.
Mr. Heaslop. Ah, you must be Marlow. Welcome to India. I'm pleased to have you here to assist me. With a rowdy population of natives to control, we need all the force we can get. You'll be my assistant and follow me around wherever I go to help and assist me. Do I make myself clear?
Ronnie, it's Adela! She's been insulted by Dr. Aziz!
What? Miss Derek? Marlow, I recuse myself from this investigation. I order you to investigate, in my place, the atrocity committed by this abomination of humanity. I have to take care of my fiancée.
I understood the severity of the situation, but before I could stop myself, I drifted into the darkness of sleep.
Listen to me. I am your God, and I sentence this man to death.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
I've always wanted a white head to my collection.
Upon reading the case file, I began to understand what happened and who was involved. According to Miss Adela quested Dr. Aziz, a local doctor had raped or insulted her when she had been his guest, along with her fiancé's mother, Mrs. Moore, exploring the Marlborough Caves. In order to prepare evidence for the trial in a week, I needed to investigate all people who were in any way related to the case. I decided first to interview Professor Gabouli, a local teacher at the university who had been present when Dr. Aziz agreed to go to the Marlborough Caves with Miss Quested.
Excuse me, Professor Gabouli. Could I ask you a few questions?
Tell me, Mr. Marlow, do you believe in God?
Beg your pardon?
Do you believe in the existence of a higher power?
Based on what I've been through and what I've seen, I find it hard to believe that all of the evilness and darkness of humanity is created by some higher power.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Back to my question.
Yes, I did witness those two converse about the Marlborough Caves. But, from my perspective, Dr. Aziz did not want to go to the caves, but offered it to Miss Quested as a formality. Yet, do not know.
Do you believe that Dr. Aziz has the capacity to commit such a crime?
I'll perform a good action when one is performed, and when an evil action is performed, I'll perform it. Good and evil are different as their names imply, but in my own humble opinion, they are both of them aspects of the world.
Thanks for the help.
That was pretty useless. However, I began to realize that I should at least consider the possibility that Dr. Aziz is innocent. While at the college, I also spoke to Cyril Fielding, a close friend of Dr. Aziz who was planning on going on the trip to the Marlborough Caves if it wasn't for Professor Gabouli.
Mr. Fielding, I'm here from the office of the magistrate. I'm investigating the incident with Dr. Aziz.
I know. All you need to know from me is that Dr. Aziz is utterly innocent. I know that man would never hurt someone.
How would you know that?
I just know, if that makes sense. I've known Dr. Aziz for little amount of time, but he trusted me. He even showed me a picture of his dead wife. If he planned to insult Adela, he would not have invited me.
Thanks for your time.
Wait! One last thing. About Aziz running. He was just scared, that's all. He didn't mean to cause a scare because he's worried about his kid's name if he was accused with such a crime.
Sure he was.
Marlow, stop it! Aziz is innocent. I'm an honorable man, and I know when I see one.
I realized that Fielding's testimony was extremely relevant considering the fact he left the club after Dr. Aziz's imprisonment, on the knowledge and intuition that Dr. Aziz was innocent. I decided to take the night off and go back to my apartment and continue my investigation the next day.
The horror. The horror. The horror. The horror.
After that awful dream, I knew I only had two people left to interview. The accused and the accused.
Please, Marlow, can I please talk to Dr. Aziz? I need a note from the magistrate in order to see him. And since Mr. Heelsop is not serving his position currently...
I will let you in after I'm done with him.
Thank you, sir. Your debt will be repaid.
I first started with Dr. Aziz, who was being held in the county prison.
Who's there?
Marlow, new assistant magistrate to Mr. Ronnie Heaslop. I'm here to get your side of the story.
What do you want to know?
The story.
Well, I'm innocent.
I asked you to tell me what happened, not whether or not you did it.
Okay, I get it. I took Miss Quest to the Marlow cave because I invited her out, a formality, and she took it at face value. I shelled out hundreds of rupees on the trip and would never think of harming Miss Quest. I love Mrs. Moore and would never insult her family in that way.
Back to the story, please.
Yes, of course, sir. So the first entry into the cave was uneventful, although Mrs. Moore did stop after that journey. Oh, I love Mrs. Moore. She's so nice.
Tell me, do you want to die, sir?
No, sir. I will continue. I will tell you.
Back.
Okay, so after that first time, on the request of Mrs. Moore, the only people who ventured into the higher cave was me, Miss Quested, and our guide. Upon arrival, Miss Quested questioned about my wife, even daring to ask whether or not I had multiple. How rude of her. So I stormed off to have a cigarette. When I had come back, I saw that Miss Quested was not there. I looked for her, but then heard a car. I saw her get in the car and then leave, thinking nothing of it at the time.
Why did you run?
I was simply scared. I didn't know who they thought had committed the crime towards. I just ran, thinking of my kid's future and the destruction of my name.
What about Adela's field glasses? Why were they in your possession?
I found them when I was looking for Miss Weston. Honestly, I thought she had dropped them. That's all.
I'm done with you. Good luck in your trial.
Wait, Mr. Marlow, just a few more minutes. The light, it's so comforting. Oh no.
I survived months in the African jungle at the mercy of the natives. I am haunted by my experience there. Oh, the horrors of darkness. You do not know darkness. When life is engulfed by dark, then you will know true darkness and you will feel the pain I have endured despite my sacrifice.
After that informative encounter, I immediately decided to get the other side of the story. I went to the McBride's house, where Adela was staying while she recovered.
Miss Question, I'm here to ask you a few questions.
Please, call me Adela.
Yes, of course. Miss Question, can you please describe to me what happened at the Marlow Caves?
Yes, of course. Please excuse me for a moment since I have a bad headache.
Of course, my lady.
So I had agreed to go with Dr. Aziz and Mrs. Moore to the Marymbar Caves, and our first journey into the cave was wonderful and breathtaking.
And the second one?
After entering that cave, all I truly remember is darkness, echoes, and pain. I swung my field glasses at Dr. Aziz, trying to get him to stop, but they broke quickly. After exiting, I tumbled down a few hills and was picked up by Miss Derrick before Dr. Aziz could hurt me again.
He will never hurt you again. I swear to you that that monster will never see the light of day.
Thank you, dear Ronnie. Can you please fetch Miss Derrick for me?
Yes, my love, of course.
Mr. Marlow, could you please leave me? I have this horrible echo ringing in my ears since the incident. I can't even truly remember what happened in those caves. When I try to think, I just hear that horrible echo. And I remember that lonely, all-consuming darkness. Adela, are you alright? Yes, I just need some more pain medicine.
I'll go now.
Thank you for being so kind, Mr. Marlow.
Marlow, can I speak to you for a second? You see the condition of my fiancée. If you dare in court to contradict her statement and destroy the sacredness of my true love, I will personally hunt you to the ends of the earth for failing to convict a subhuman being.
With all the evidence collected, I knew what I was going to say at the trial the next day, so I went back to my bungalow, hoping for a good night's sleep, but I only descended deeper into darkness.
Please help me. Just when you think I'm dead and defeated, I will come back. And Marlow, I will make you hurt and engulf you in utter darkness.
That night was pretty rough. I knew I just needed to get through the trial and my life would return to normal.
Will y'all please be quiet? We have a trial to get down to. I now call this trial to order. Order! This is the case of Dr. Aziz versus the British state of India. Dr. Aziz has been charged with insulting Miss Adela Quested. Prosecution, please call your first witness to the stand.
First, let it be noted that the philosophy that a white woman will never love an Oriental, and only an Oriental can love a white woman.
Mr. McBride, you may begin.
With that out of the way, we call Marlow, the chief investigator of this incident, to the stand. Mr. Marlow, as a result of your investigation, could you please describe the conclusion of your investigation?
Yes, of course. During my investigation, I investigated all the major players in the case. After an intense investigation, I have been unable to determine the validity of Miss Quested's statements. That's not saying she's wrong. Her blurry memory coupled with the testimony of Godbely, Fielding, and Dr. Aziz himself has not given me certainty about the case.
Thank you, Mr. Marlow, so very much. Excused. I would now like to call Adela Quested to the stand. So, Miss Quested, what happened as you entered the Marbar Caves with Dr. Aziz?
Well, I think I offended Dr. Aziz when I asked him how many wives he had married and he stormed off. So I walked into the cave and...
And that was when Dr. Aziz insulted you, right?
Well, I think,
Now, let's move on. So,
Now wait one moment. Miss Quested did not answer the question.
I'm sorry. I think I've made a mistake.
Now what do you mean, Miss Quested?
I withdraw my accusation against Dr. Aziz. I can't recall entering the cave with him.
Das, I beg you. This woman is under a lot of stress. It is impossible that she could produce the same...
Silence! By the power of my title, I clear Mr. Dr. Aziz of all charges.
I call off our engagement right now. Ugh.
Yippee!
Miss Quested, it's a dangerous time to be alone outside. Do you have a place to stay tonight?
I'm afraid not, Marlow.
Stay at my place until this all blows over.
I'll be back in a sec with some water. Make yourself comfortable.
Oh no, Kurtz had taken Adela.
Ah!
Haha, you thought you could escape me? Did you really trust the testimony of some African who said I had died? I paid him in ivory to fake my death in order for me to escape to Europe, regain my health, and end my engagement to that insufferable woman back in Europe. Now, I've come here to pay you back for dragging me out to Africa. I was living the life there, and then you had to drag me away from those Africans. I was a god, and you returned me to humanity. For that, I am determined to wreck you and everything you love. I will have my revenge.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Adela, are you okay?
It's going to be better now. I'm going to a better place.
No, you can't.
I must. And promise me, Marlow, that you will live your life without me. I know that you love me, and I've begun to love you too. But you must move on. Promise me that, Marlow.
No, Adela, you're right. I do love you, and I promise you that for your sake.
Thank you, Marlow. Heaven, I'm in heaven.
Remember this moment, dear Marlow. Remember the heartbreak and the pain. Remember the longing and desire for vengeance. Remember it. Remember it.
That moment changed my life forever. You know what drove me crazy? There was no difference between Africa and India. In both places there were cruel people who subjugated people for pleasure and benefit. There was no difference between Kurtz and Ronnie. I guess what I'm trying to say is that each of us has darkness inside of us. It causes us to espouse hatred, suppression, and racism. In order to love and live life, one must control and resist this darkness. That is what Adela taught me. Now, can someone please pass me the bottle? I need a drink before I start telling you about this fool I met in Japan.